And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. It doesn't feel like January 13th. Temperatures outside are in the upper 30s across most of the area, but that party is about to end. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. Bridgette, well, hey, you're not on the road. All right. You're finally... Today. Yeah.
Today I'm in the remote Coral Laundromat studio. Tomorrow I will be in the actual studio. And I can't remember where I'm going to be on Thursday, but I'll keep you posted on that. There's things going on.
Well, hopefully you're not doing any travel on Friday because weather is really going to go downhill later this week, and I'll have more on that here in a few seconds. But today we're looking at pretty decent weather. I mean, for this time of the year, temperatures should be in the teens for highs, and instead we're looking at temperatures near 40 this afternoon. But a cold front is about ready to move through, and we'll see falling temperatures as we head towards evening as those winds turn to the west-northwest, and they'll increase as soon as that front gets through at about 15 to 30. And then as we head into tonight, we're looking at skies clearing out. It's going to be a cold one with lows around 5 above and wind chills about 10 to 20 below. So that means a cold day tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to feel more like January should. Now we'll have sunshine and lighter winds and highs in the mid-teens. Then we'll briefly warm up ahead of an Alberta Clipper on Thursday. That'll warm us up to around freezing as clouds increase, and then sharply colder as we head into Thursday night and Friday. Snow and wind will move into the area, and we're looking at very windy conditions on Friday, about 30 to 40 and gusty out of the north-northwest, and we'll see snow as well. Now, that snow is going to be blowing all over the place. We'll probably have reduced visibility and some slick travel as well. So if you have any travel plans on Friday, might want to alter those into the weekend if you can, because conditions do improve over the weekend, at least Saturday. But it's going to be cold, highs in the single digits. And then another Clipper system comes our way late Sunday into Sunday night. That'll give us another round of some light snow, and temperatures all next week averaging at or below normal. And late next week, which would be about the 22nd through the 26th, we have some extremely cold Arctic air coming in. We're talking highs below zero, morning lows about 20 below. So a slap back into winter for Mother Nature here as we head towards the end of the month. And no big snows on the horizon, Bridgette, but again, you get these little 1 to 2 inch snowfalls like we're expecting Friday. You get 30, 40 mile an hour winds with that. That's going to pose some travel issues. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some areas on Friday experience near blizzard conditions. So please, if you have travel on Friday, keep up to date on the forecast. And again, if you can postpone that till the weekend, probably a better bet as conditions will improve over the weekend.
Well, I would have to say I'm curious to see how Addison is facing this, because you're kind of on the fence sometimes if you want it to be hot or cold. So Addison, you okay with going from this to blistering cold winter again?
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
When you say you'll allow it, I sort of want to give you a gavel, maybe a black robe and a white powdered wig, so that you can give your official ruling on these things.
I'll allow that.
I hope that works.
Yes, you.
All right.
That does come with a pay raise too. Since
I have some shopping to do.
Does anyone
for
have
Addison
like a good like wood burner? We can like get like an image of like a Cooper like burned on to the gavel on like the flat end.
On the gavel?
Slam it down.
There you go.
I could have that custom designed for you. Yes. So Cooper, our show mascot, who is a miniature Highlander cow, could in fact very well become part of the segment where we give Addison a gavel so he can approve the things we do on the show.
I like it. As producer, I am the ultimate judge of what does and doesn't happen on WAG.
This is true.
Based on when I do
That's true.
don't remember when we do things.
Well, if you're going to be the judge of that, we hope that our listeners are also giving us good feedback, and they can do that in a variety of ways. One is you can send us some emails. You can do those ag or weather at flagfamily.com. Our inboxes are powered by Superior Grain Equipment. They're making sure that you have your farm's future secure with Superior Grain Storage, Drying, and Handling Solutions. Find them at superiorbins.com. For those of you who are watching, that way you get to see the days that Cooper appears when I'm not in studio. He hangs out on the desk. If I'm there, I try to remember to take him into the studio with us. It's hard to herd a cow some days. And you can catch him on our live stream, Facebook, YouTube, Acres TV, and thanks to Lighthouse Commodities, who are going to be a part of a meeting out in Bismarck next week. It's Tuesday the 20th. That will be a meeting that's being held in conjunction with BW Fusion with a biological focus. So you'll be talking grain marketing, and after yesterday's WASD report, say there's plenty to talk about, and then also talking about soil health and biology. That meeting is starting at 10 a.m. Again, it's in Bismarck at the North Dakota Gateway to Science. And as a grower, you can expect very straightforward discussions on markets as well as agronomy and actionable ideas that can focus right here in North Dakota. Again, that's Lighthouse Commodities. They bring us our live stream to you every single day. Nate Thorsrud, well, he's with JLA Crop Insurance. He's a farmer himself. He also is understanding the impacts of not only crop insurance, but also what happened in yesterday's corn market. You can reach him on the JLA Insurance phone line right here at the studio, 701-293-9000. Get a hold of us, and if you need to reach out to Nate, we can get you in contact with him. With yesterday's market, it's going to be very important that y'all join us on Friday for Market Uncovered for the segment we do with Greg Hansen from Hansen Agro Commodities. I think there's going to be a lot of questions. I have a whole list that are coming in from listeners as of right now, actually, as we watch the USDA uncover a record amount of unsuspected corn bushels that are now going to hit the market, and we saw an unprecedented drop in the market yesterday. Lots of ideas and suggestions for us to talk about in regards to what we think is happening with those markets. So it's going to be a busy week. Also, I wanted to highlight one more item, and that is for those of you who remember doing your livestock judging in 4-H or FFA. Well, Horde's Dairymen, God bless them. That magazine still exists. They're well over 100 years old. And got to go this way to show it on the live stream. They have their latest edition of their dairy cow judging contest out. So this is literally the cover of the Horde's Dairymen magazine that I'm showing on the live stream. For those of you who can't see it, now you're going to have to go see what Lighthouse Commodities provides for us on Facebook, YouTube, and Acres TV. I also posted this on our Facebook page under Weather and Ag in Focus. So you have the opportunity to look at this class of 4 brown Swiss cows. Tell me which ones you place the highest. What's your setting for that? And you don't have to give reasons. Just give me your numbers of what you think. And then the same for Holsteins. I also have the whole lineup of 4 Holstein cows. You have to choose which one you like as your top pair, your bottom pair, and who you're actually going to put as first out of the 4. This is an annual contest that Horde's Dairymen hosts. It's via their magazine. You can register online to participate. Thousands of people send in their entries. There are categories for FFA, 4-H, high school, adults, open class. I mean, it's pretty wild how many different areas in which you could put in your guesses for livestock judging. So it's a way to relive some fun. In fact, the national 4-H winning livestock judger is from North Dakota this year, and that would be Sheridan Ellickson from St. Anthony, North Dakota. So you know what? We don't have a lot of dairy farms in North Dakota as of right now, but we got some folks who have a sharp eye for looking for good cattle, especially in the realm of dairy. All right. There are lots of meetings going on this time of the year, and you don't want to miss out on any. So even for those of you who are backyard gardeners like myself, to those who are adding in larger garden areas on farm, maybe you're part of a CSA, you're growing some of your vegetables that go to farmers markets, et cetera, in the summer. Well, the University of Minnesota is hosting a series of webinars on Wednesdays. I feel like Wednesdays are webinar day for many of us in the winter months. And these webinars are being held via Zoom. They're on Wednesdays from noon to 1 o'clock, so you can catch that before you join us for this show. And some of the upcoming topics that they'll be visiting about: adding fruit to the farm. Are you thinking about using a high tunnel? Some good and bad information there for you. Pumpkin, integrated pest management, and then the one we should all attend in February: diagnosing and dealing with tomato problems, because everybody has a tomato. We think we've got a tomato problem solved, and it shows up again differently the next year, whether you're getting blossom end rot, Maybe you are looking at leaf wilt. Maybe you have a problem with high humidity causing some fungal disease on your leaves. This is a great opportunity for you to gather further information. And if you're interested in joining that webinar, you can drop me that email, ag@flagfamily.com. I'll send you the link so you can sign up and join us. It'll be a busy rest of the day as we are going to be joined by Max Steffes. He's with the Steffes Group, and we're going to have on the auction block. We're going to be talking about a variety of topics with Max, and then followed by Ann Taylor. She is with Prairie Ag in West Fargo, North Dakota. They're an equipment manufacturer, as well as the home of the Tile Plow Pro. And I challenge all of you to have to say that multiple times very quickly. It's not as easy as you think. You'll hear more from those guests after we hear the market update from the American Ag Network with the Livestock Report. And here we are with On the Auction Block with the Steffes Group. Max Steffes joins us because that chant of the auctioneer, well, that calls our attention to what's going on in auctioneering these days. And one thing I got to ask about, Max, I got a press release for the Minnesota State Auctioneers Association. That event is coming up this weekend in Moorhead from the looks of it. Are you able to
Yeah.
join? And what happens at an event like that for auctioneers?
Oh, you bet. You know, we've been proud members of the Minnesota Auctioneers Association for a number of decades, and there's the contest actually on Thursday night. I believe the auction is open to the public, so I think Dad's judging it this year. So all sorts of highly talented auctioneers will be demonstrating their proficiency and bid calling ability. I think it's in Moorhead coming up, and we're looking forward to that event.
Those associations are always incredibly important for folks, not only for the the fun of the competition with each other, but also the chance to interact, network. I think that no matter what great agenda we have for a meeting, it's the networking with our peers that probably makes the biggest difference most times in an event.
I would agree completely. Whether you're a farmer talking to other farmers, or a farm broadcaster talking to other farm broadcasters, or an auctioneer talking to another auctioneer, iron sharpens iron, and it's a great opportunity for us to learn and bone up on what's going on in people's different areas, and we look forward to that. And of course, with the National Association, the North Dakota Association, the Minnesota Association, there's lots of auctioneer fraternities out there, so to speak. And it's funny, everybody knows everybody, don't they, Bridgette?
Yes, yes, they do. And therefore, pay attention to what's going on.
Yep. You have to be on your best behavior, right?
You know what? Another area of paying attention right now is we have a lot of folks going in, and I've mentioned this many times. They're going to see their bankers. They've talked to their accountants at the end of the year, and there's some nervousness with ag renewals. And by ag renewals, I mean their lines of credit and or operating loans, etc. All right. What do you see from your perspective in business right now? Are you feeling pretty good about it? Have you had some concerns from bankers that your farmers, both buyers and sellers, might be dealing with?
You know, Bridgette, what I would tell you and the listeners, it's the 80-20 rule. And I would tell you that 80% of the producers and people in production and agriculture are in phenomenal shape. Even if they lost a little bit of money last year and had to work through some working capital, by and large, this ag deal is still rock solid. And, you know, what that translates to is still good land prices, good demand for equipment. And so the sky's not falling, but there are some deep issues with the 20%. Maybe people that haven't made the best operating decisions, and some of that's coming home to roost here this spring, and it's going to be tough sledding for some of those guys. Hopefully some of this disaster assistance money that's coming available is going to keep some of those guys whole and living to farm another year, because we don't want to lose any more farmers. And then, you know, obviously through us as part of our auction service, asset management. So, you know, some people are going to have to sell an equipment piece or two, some land potentially, and some of that's going on as well. So it's I would say there's a tightening of the belt, so to speak, but it's definitely not the first downturn in ag and won't be the last. And I would tell you that it's been a lot worse in the past, even as recently as 2016. I think that downturn was much more severe than this downturn is going to be.
You know, my guess is right now, no matter what your financial position might be, you are probably taking a look at your line of equipment and thinking, what do I need? What can I sell? And which way should that go? You could be both a buyer and a seller on the same day. And I don't know if you've seen an uptick in any of those calls these days, or if you've had anybody, you know, as far as what's going on in both sugar and corn markets right now, give you a call and say, you know, I think I need to downsize some land. And if they're doing that, they still got time before spring, right? Find the piece of equipment you want or sell the piece of land you might want off your hands.
You bet. Yep. The whole I need, I want, and I can afford conversation, right? Putting things into a bucket and making some tough decisions. There's definitely been some of that with the sugar deal the way that it is. Of course, sugar policies in flux like it always is, but with this new food pyramid, it'll be really interesting to see sugar demand and sugar policy take its shape here with people eating less sugar in their diets. So I don't know what that does to sugar long term in the valley. But there's a tightening of the belt that's going on, and some people are electing to say that, hey, maybe sugar beets aren't something that I want to grow as a commodity, and they're shifting more to corn and other commodities, whether it's edibles or what have you. So there's quite a bit of that going on from a pivoting perspective, mostly in the Southern Valley. But people are taking a whole look at their farm, just like everybody should if they're good operators every year. I mean, just like we do with our auction business, we sit down and ask ourselves what worked, what didn't work, what are we going to do better next year, and that's what the new year is all about, right?
Max Steffes joins us here for On the Auction Block. We see him the first Tuesday of every month here on WDAY Radio's Weather and Ag in Focus. And Max also writes an article regularly for the Dakota Farmer. And a recent article discussion that you've got, Max, is talking about how folks have there's been a steady increase in demand for smaller acreages and ranchettes, farmsteads, etc. As you've watched that happen, do they have to be within a very close distance to Fargo, or are people willing to get a little bit further out for their slice of the land pie?
Yeah, so I would tell you in general, and I got a kick out of Jay's show yesterday talking about some of the stories from 1888, the blizzard that occurred. I would tell you that connectivity and the modern automobile have made rural America more valuable. And part of that is it's just not as dangerous to live out in the countryside as it used to be. I mean, you hear some of those stories that Jay was talking about yesterday, and something about 20 miles to town to get coal for their house because his wife was pregnant in 3 days. I mean, oh my gosh, the stories that you hear from our forefathers and pioneers, that hardship, it's just easier to live out in the country. And as a result of that, I think it's created more appeal. And of course, everybody wants to get out of the cities, and they have this idealistic view of 10 or 15 acres in the countryside and their goats and their pigs and their laying hens and whatever else. Of course, with that comes a lot of work. Anybody that's owned acreage like that knows how much work it is to even take care of a 10-acre farmstead, let alone a 20 or 30-acre farmstead. So there's pros and cons to that, but it's definitely increased the value of those properties, whether they're within the 45-mile radius of Fargo or Bismarck, or even if they're in Timbuktu down in Marion or somewhere like that. Those farmsteads are very valuable.
My first thought is, all right, I want to start looking for a farmstead or a small acreage, and I probably go to a real estate agent. But frankly, they may want to have a conversation with you, Max, because there's a real possibility you've seen something that somebody may not have their eye on through a real estate market, or vice versa.
Well, yeah, the auction method of marketing allows you to plan and prepare and pick a date, and it's done. Whereas in the traditional environment, which we're also real estate brokers and agents, you're at the mercy of the buyers, and with that comes timing. You don't know when those offers are going to come into play and what terms and conditions they might have accompanying with them. So we like the auction method of marketing, and folks, if you're thinking about buying a farmstead, we do a fair bit of it. I wish I could have, I think if I had 24 of them right now, I could sell all 24 of them, because there's about 50 people that call me a year and, hey, you got any farmsteads within 10 miles of Fargo? And I wish I had 10. So there's huge demand out there if you own that sort of thing.
Max, I appreciate the fact that you always have a great perspective from so many areas in agribusiness, simply because you have those people who are contacting you. And if others, whether buyer or seller they may be, want to reach out to you, how can they do that?
Yeah, so we've got an office on Main Avenue in West Fargo, or pick up the phone and call us. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's ag equipment, construction equipment, farm real estate. That's what we've been doing for 66 years now, since my grandfather founded the business, and we'd love to hear from you.
We have now been going through On the Auction Block with Max Steffes, and he is with the Steffes Group right here in Fargo.
Hey, Bridgette?
Mm-hmm.
Is Max, we've got a caller that just called in. Todd's got a question for you real quick. Todd, go ahead.
Hey, Max. Good to hear you again, and always enjoy your commentary. Question for you is, I was just curious how your Canadian acquisition turned out for you last year.
Thanks for asking, Todd, and pretty dang good. So we just had our annual sales meeting last week. Once the cookies crumbled, we did 45 auction events in Canada last year, which we thought was a success. So we're really well received up there. Of course, some of the Trump conversation with the 51st state thing wasn't the best for timing for us, because we closed right after that happened. But by and large, people in Western Canada, Saskatchewan, and what have you are pretty pro-America. And, funny story for you, Todd. So when I went up there for the first time and got to meet Jason, one of our lead dogs up there, I asked him, I said, what do you think of this whole Trump deal and Polyev and Mark and all that? And he said, well, it's like this, Max. I wish that we would invade the United States of America. I said, okay, well, you'd maybe make it to Stanley, North Dakota, but I'll bite. Go ahead. Why? And he said, well, then we can surrender right away and we can become the 51st state. So I thought that was like, wow, okay. So there are some people, we think we're polarized in Minnesota, the United States, but Western Canada versus Eastern Canada, it is about as polarized as it comes. When it comes to geographies and stuff. So it's interesting learning all those things, but overall it's been a success and we're excited about 2026 in Canada.
Fantastic. Well, Max, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, Dean and Bridgette and Todd. Thanks for the question. And like I said, folks, pick up the phone and call us. We'd love to visit with you.
All right. We'll do. And when we come back, again, we're going to have, let's see, who do we have here, Bridgette? I've got my show sheet in the other room. I'm sorry. I believe we have Nick.
Ann Taylor. Nope, it's Ann Taylor with Prairie Ag.
I gotcha.
So Ann's
Okay.
going to join us coming up next.
Fantastic. We'll be right back.
You know, it's never too early to put a meeting for the month of July on your calendar. I think I've already got 4 on my calendar for July, and one of them will include Bell Bank's Ag Views Live. This is a fantastic event. So you have Lynn Paulson, who's the Senior Vice President of Lending for Agriculture at Bell Bank, and then you have retired Professor Emeritus Dr. David Cole, who comes from Virginia Tech. And they spend the morning sharing their insights of what they see happening with global events, commodities, and what that's going to do to impact agriculture right here in the Red River Valley. So if you're curious about signing up for that event, you can go to bellbank.ag and you can check out their Ag Views, their quarterly newsletter, and then you'll be getting the date for the Bell Bank Live event in July. Joining us is going to be our guest, but before that, I want to announce that Joni Cochran, we need you to call us because she is our qualifier. Joni Cochran of Fargo, she's our qualifier to go potentially see the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere on Valentine's weekend in Las Vegas. Joni, you have 11 minutes to give us a call and get qualified. You'll be joining us on February 3rd at Kingpins in order to find out if you're the winner who gets a 3-night hotel stay. Tickets for 2 to the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, $500 in spending cash, and you're going to need airfare to get there as well, and we'll take care of that. So, Joni Cochran, I hope she calls in. I'd like to start this streak of winning people calling us every hour again because we had it going for a few days. We missed one. We need to get this fired up again, dude.
That's right. And if you know Joni Cochran of Fargo, shoot her a text. Say, hey, better call in 701-293-9000.
Love to have her join us, much like we love to have our guests joining us. And today it's Ann Taylor. She is with Prairie Ag out of West Fargo. Ann, thanks so much for taking the time today to tell us more about who's Prairie Ag. That's maybe a name that not everybody remembers is very prominent in this region.
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me. Prairie Ag is, a lot of people have probably heard our name before. A lot of people probably have our systems on their headers. We are known for our air systems. So if you've ever seen a prairie wind system or an aerial on the front of a header, and you're like, what is that spaceship-looking thing that you'll see going up and down the field? That's what some people call them. But it's actually an air system. They're used primarily on soybean headers, and they just help with shatter loss, help boost yield. If you've got really short beans, they also help in tall beans. It really just helps to collect all of those beans so you're not losing any to the field, get them back to the back of the header and get them into the combine.
So for those who are listening that aren't familiar with that, you're thinking about the header on the front of the combine, and this air reel actually pumps air out during soybean harvest or other pulse crops to push that crop into the header so you don't lose it onto the ground, right? So we're harvesting more and having less loss.
Yes. Yep. You're gaining an average of 1 to 4 bushels per acre. So it's kind of one of those no-brainers. We've seen pictures of yield loss maps where some of our farmers will turn the system off and their yield will actually visibly go down on their yield monitor, and then they turn the system back on and you see it increase. So it's almost one of those no-brainers that pays for itself nearly within a season. So, you don't want to be leaving money on the ground. I don't think there's any farmer out there that wants to leave money in the field.
Well, you have a number of items that go along with that prairie wind system in order to make sure that once you harvest all those extra 1 to 4 bushels, you have a place to store them, like the big top grain tank extension.
Yep, it's our big top hopper extension. So we see those primarily in, used in corn harvest, not so much in soybean harvest, but with bigger fields and longer passes, it just makes more sense to be able to store that so you don't have to stop and wait for the grain cart to catch up. Or if you're in the middle of a pass, you can't really have the grain cart get to you. And nobody likes cab corn either when you're slamming the brakes. So the big top hopper extensions are really just a way to increase your hopper capacity so you can go longer. You don't have to be unloading as much. It's just an efficiency thing, and it just makes sense.
Maybe if you've got a slightly smaller grain cart, right? And you want to make sure that you can, or if you've got a field with very long rounds and you have a big grain cart that's coming to you, this just gives you more storage capacity on the combine until you can get to the end, or you've got a grain cart that gets to you, right?
Yep, absolutely. And I know that there's probably grain cart drivers out there that, let's be honest, they're probably sitting there in the field watching Netflix on their phone. We've all done it, right? So, and they're sitting there and they're like, oh, yeah, I get one more pass.
Okay, have you seen the T-shirt that says "World's Okayest Grain Cart Driver"?
Yes.
They're kind of perfect for this situation. Yes.
Perfect for Big Pop. Yep.
You going along with the combine and some of the elements you have available for farmers, the golden cut. These are sections for the cutting bar, correct?
Yes, yep. So the golden cut system is, the golden cut system is again primarily used for soybeans, but it can be used in other pulse crops, and we've seen people use it on wheat. We've seen them use it on other cereal grains as well. But our golden cut cutting systems are just kind of we call them a cut above. They're just a highly engineered system, and you can actually purchase them directly through our website now. It's something that we just launched here at the beginning of the year. So if you go to our website, crary.com, which is crary.com/golden cut. So it's gold, the letter N, and then CUT. There's a big button there, and you can shop for golden cut systems right there. You can build out a system if you're not sure what your header might need or what you might need for your operation. You can build out a system and you can add it to your cart and you can buy it right there on our website now.
That's excellent. I mean, talk about being able to skip some of the middleman just to get those things shipped right to you, especially combines might still be in the shop from last harvest and we might be doing some work on them. So what a perfect time to get some of these things accomplished and improvements made, whether it's with the wind system, the big top extension, or even the golden cuts.
Absolutely. Yep. And our store is open 24/7. So you don't have to worry about running to make sure that the parts counter is still open. It will be there for you whenever you want to access it.
Now for Curry Ag, it's not just about harvest. You guys are in some other areas as well. And one of those is when it comes to land improvement. So let's talk about the Tile Plow Pro, which I have to say slowly or I'm completely going to trip over all of that. But it's really right sized if you want to do some land improvements on your own operation versus what you might be doing for some custom work for a neighbor, etc. So can you kind of fill us in a little bit on some specs on that Tile Plow Pro?
Yeah. It's so I'll correct you real quick, Bridget. It's the Tile Pro
Yeah.
Plow. Don't worry, it is a
Oh,
mouthful.
there we go. Oh, I'm so
Yep.
sorry. I got it all backwards.
That's okay. We have people say it wrong all the time, and I mess it up myself often. So, but our tile plow it's a commercial grade plow you can get a frame mounted one that goes directly onto your tractor. You can check it out on our website if you go to crary.com/tilepro. And on our website, you'll be able to see a lot more details about it. We offer it in both a 6-foot and a 7-foot plow, and then we offer different boot sizes as well to accommodate whatever type of drainage or whatever type of tile you're going to be doing in your field. The great thing about these plows is that it's, again, like I said, it's like a commercial grade plow. You're getting a very high quality plow, but again, it's going to pay for itself very quickly because it's going to cost you a lot less than hiring someone to custom do the tiling yourself. And then you have the ability to do any type of maintenance that you might need to do on your field to add more tile or add another field, whatever you need to do.
This goes hand in hand with the Revolutionary Ditcher as well.
Yes, yep. Our Revolution Ditcher is another one of our water management pieces, and that one is really meant for maintaining ditches, waterways, terraces. And the Revolution Ditcher is above ground management, and our Tile Pro is really that below ground management for water control. Both serve their purpose, and the great thing about the Revolution Ditcher as well is that you can kind of park the dozers, the scrapers, like all those other old pieces, and the ditcher can pretty much take the place of all of them.
So many folks equate Curry Ag with what we do in row crop, whether it's corn, soybeans, even some of our small grain. But hold on, you have a whole separate line that has to do with potato equipment too, which is seeing a resurgence in the Red River Valley.
Yes, absolutely. We also we own the Lockwood manufacturing line. So if you've heard of Lockwood potato equipment, that is also manufactured right here in West Fargo by Crary Industries. And we have handling, harvesting, planting equipment. We cover the entire spectrum really of most of the equipment that you would need for a potato operation. And you can check out all of that equipment at lockwoodmfg.com as well.
So when it comes to being able to access your equipment, And would folks be best to go to the website like they can with the cut and gold? Or do you have dealers for Lockwood and some of the other items where folks should be looking at your dealer network online?
Yep. If you are interested in any of our equipment, you can go ahead and check us out at crary.com, CRARY.com, and there is a dealer locator there. We have a dealer network all across the United States, so you'll be able to find someone who's local to you to reach out if you have any questions. And as always, we are available if you have direct questions or if there's something that we can help you with, or we can also direct you to your closest local dealer. And there's a contact form right on our website to reach out to our amazing sales team.
And thanks for taking the time to join us today, because talking about equipment manufacturers right here in the Red River Valley that cover North Dakota and our surrounding geography, hey, that's pretty awesome to give the reminder to everybody that you're right here for them when they need you.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.
All right, and we have about a minute left for our qualifier, Joni Cochran, to call in. Joni Cochran of Fargo, you've got a minute left, 701-293-9000. Give us a call to qualify, be one of the qualifiers for our Valentine's Day giveaway. When we come back, we'll recap the weather. The snow is in the forecast, along with much colder weather. That and a couple of ag topics when we come back. And welcome back to Weather Nag and Focus. 1:52 in the afternoon. Temperatures are very mild for this time of the year outside, in the upper 30s. But a cold front is about ready to move through the area. We'll see falling temperatures as we head into the evening hours, and we're really going to fall off overnight tonight, down to about between 0 and 5 above, and then only in the teens tomorrow. That's about where we should be for this time of the year. Sunshine, lighter winds tomorrow. But tomorrow morning, we're going to have wind chills about 10 to 20 below, so a big difference tomorrow morning. And then Clipper system will warm us up first on Thursday into the low 30s, and then Arctic air and snow and wind pour into the area on Friday. We're expecting about 1 to maybe 2 inches of snow on Friday, so not a big snowmaker, but with very strong north winds at about, 20 to 40, that is going to produce, in some areas, near blizzard conditions. So if you have any travel plans on Friday, please, you might want to alter your plans. I would push them off until the weekend when conditions will be much better. And this weather is brought to you by Progressive Ag Risk Management Specialist. Bridgette, it's a big change in the weather pattern, and we've been advertising this for about a week, that we're going to see the second half of the month much, much colder. And we're looking at temperatures by about the 20th through the 26th, 10, 20 below for morning lows. So,
But I don't know, again, not terribly surprising for January. And in fact, I already see cloud cover moving in here. So it's on its way.
Yep.
We're about there.
That cold front is on its way. Also want to mention Landmark Companies. Landmark Companies, your local leader in farm drainage. Give Blake Sunday a call and visit landmarkteams.com. Ask about early order discounts, precision drainage, and proven results. That's Landmark Companies. And Bridgette, I know it's a little early. I was reading an article earlier this morning on how, and I think it's common sense, but a lot of people think, hey, we're not getting much snow this winter. It's so nice, but that's not helping ag at all. We need that moisture. We need the snow cover as well.
Well, snow cover's fine, and I mean we've been okay. As we move to the south, we've had some open fields. The concern that we would have is if we get further into the spring and we get some heavy wind starts to pick up, and that'll cause more erosion concerns. So that's where our cover comes in. It's not so much about the moisture right now, because you said we're going to take a hard turn into spring, probably about the beginning of April. Well, that allows us to get a crop planted April into early May, and then it starts to rain. Okay,
Perfect.
that's
Yep.
fine. Well, I'll take that. And for those who want to tell me otherwise, you can. I'm fine with that. Send me those emails, ag@flagfamily.com. Let me know what you think. But my concern about having ground cover right now or snow cover right now would be mostly to keep soils in place if we were to get some hurricane force winds.
Well,
and Montana this morning was getting like 60, 65 mile an hour winds.
Right. And this Clipper system coming in Friday, when we're talking 40 mile an hour winds, might be on the conservative side. In areas out in the western part of the state with no snow cover, they're expecting 50 plus mile an hour winds. So there we go with the possibility of soil erosion out there.
This sounds like a wonderful excuse not to come into work on Friday is what I'm getting.
Now, keep in mind when it comes to the Western North Dakota, they also have more no-till fields than we do. So they've got ground cover at this point where they don't have to worry about it being snow cover.
All right. And we've got Jeff on line one. Jeff, you got a question for us. Go ahead.
Hey there, I do. So I'm just wondering what this system that's coming in Friday or whatever to give us some snow here, what it looks like for Bismarck, or like the Bismarck-Mandan area.
Yeah, boy, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever way you want to look at it, Jeff, not as much. This is going to be kind of a valley eastward event. Anything out around the Bismarck-Mandan area would be less than an inch. And if you got an inch, I'd be shocked. I think it's more of a trace to a half inch out around the Bismarck-Mandan area. A slightly better chance for a little more accumulating snow with the Clipper system on Sunday. But for the Friday system, you're just going to be dealing with a lot of wind and, again, maybe up to about a half inch of snow.
Sounds good. I appreciate that, and that's a good thing for in my situation. So thank you for brightening my day.
All right. thanks for calling, Jeff. Appreciate it.
See, everybody's a winner, whether you call in for a contest or you just get a positive weather report. That's what this is all about.
There you go. Like when we can make people happy.
Well, and that is exactly right. We want to keep people really enjoying what they're doing as far as travel and so forth right now. But like I mentioned, I've had some pretty stern winds coming across Montana. We'll likely start to see some of those as well by Friday.
Yes. Yeah. Friday's going to be, and again, when I'm saying 40-mile-an-hour winds, that might be conservative. So yeah, this is a big wind machine that's coming in Friday. So, and you factor in even a little bit of snow with that, it could pose a headache for travel.
Wind problems in the winter is not unusual. We've seen buildings taken down in this type of situation.
Yep, no doubt. So that'll do it today for Weather and Ag in Focus. For Bridgette, myself, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, it's coming up next.